for the last couple of years, there have been what many people would consider spiritual, significant happenings all around the world, things that are just way too coincidental. World leaders have taken note of it. I mean, look, they're not building the third temple for nothing, right, in Israel. You know, they didn't move the embassy to Jerusalem for no reason. All of this stuff is there, it's being orchestrated, and it's all coming to a head.
So this, my friends, is Jacob Israel. Jacob, are you there?
I am indeed. Can you hear me okay, Adam?
Yes, perfectly. Loud and clear. So guys,
wow, I got to tell you, you got some operation going. He's on, got hold music, and man, you were just every time I turn you on, I get more and more amazed at how far you've come, man. You're doing great work. I love what you're doing.
Well, thank you, Jacob. I was just about to say my piece about you. So most of you have seen on my many platforms, I always point to Jacob's videos. You know, out of all the YouTubers, you know, obviously I'm a YouTuber. I spend a lot of time producing, but when I'm not, I'm watching YouTube. And he is one of the people that is on my rotation. Even if I get a week behind, I end up going through all of his previous videos. I end up commenting on all of them. I show support. And that's something that I think that all of us need to do for our favorite YouTubers, especially now more than ever, because everything is going so crappy. Now, I was in your live stream earlier, the September 23rd, 2019, when, you know, anytime there's a date involved, people kind of get, you know, wary. Now, you actually have a lot of different stuff that's going on here that you know, this is kind of freaky stuff, actually. So, Jacob, can you explain?
It is.
Can you explain what is all going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, for a lot of people that don't understand why this date is kind of significant, it's made its rounds on YouTube, and there was we'll say a sign in the right above Jerusalem. You know, I'm not one for astrology or astronomy, but you know, it's when things are happening up there and people are taking notice. I mean, millions of people are talking about this. You have to kind of wonder, you know, is there something to it? So back in 2017, right after the Great American Earthquake, not the Great American Eclipse, there was this sign in heaven, and a lot of people likened it to the Revelation 12 sign, where there was a virgin who was crowned with 12 stars, and the moon was at her feet, and she was clothed with the sun. And that literally took place up above Jerusalem. Now, a lot of people online were making a big fuss over this, and a lot of people were stressing out over it and saying, "Oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen." And what I've been waiting for a long time on my channel is kind of, you know, for lack of a better word, say an awakening. You know, people have suffered long enough, people have been lost long enough. It's about time people wake up and come to, you know that there is more than just their little carnal lives that they're going about. That there's more. You're connected to something much, much greater than yourself. And the problem is we've all been blinded to our infinite potential. And for lack of a better word, I'm a firm believer that there is a God. And that's kind of what motivates me and always has. People that don't know me, I was the head writer for one of the largest Christian writers, one of the largest Christian television networks in the world. And before that, I was with WWF. Before it was WWE. So I've been in television a long time, but I've always had this drive. And I feel like that's all coming to this, like a time of culmination with what's going on September 23rd, 2019. Just 2 years later after this sign that we all talked about on YouTube. I don't know how many people are familiar with it in the chat. I don't have availability to look at the chat right now, but if you get a chance, look into it because it's very strange. Now, on September 23rd, for those of you who are into, say, astrology, that's Libra. It's the beginning of Libra. I don't know if anybody knows anything about Libra right now, but Facebook's making a big deal out of it. Am I allowed to say that, or should I say like book phase? How do I do it, Mark? I got to learn. I got to learn how you do it, man.
No, that's complete. Well, to be honest, the second part of your name is actually one of the filtered words, so I don't even know how that works. But yeah, no. There's
my channel's one of those filtered channels, so it's okay. Oh my goodness gracious!
I think you understand. You've gone through all the same stuff. Me and you have talked, or I'm sorry, you and I have talked many times about the different kind of waves. It goes in waves when we are kind of censored. Does. And I'll call you, and it'll be kind of the same time. We're all getting hit with this stuff, and it's just so stupid that most of the time we're fighting with ourselves in this niche instead of looking at who's actually holding us down. Who is, really doing all this. So, but as far as the Libra stuff, you are much more knowledgeable about this kind of stuff. That's why I've almost thought, and people have even said on Twitter, I don't know if you saw that post, but I said, I would love to have you on a regular basis or, anything just to have you kind of share some of your knowledge with us because you are so learned in that area. So,
oh wow! Well, thank you, man. Thank you. I mean, I dedicated like 2 decades of my life to searching. I used before YouTube kind of took off for me, and I've been on YouTube since 2008. I used to go around and I'd speak about this. Faith is very important to me, and so when I start to see a bunch of things lining up, there's a passage in Scripture that says that it's really kind of impossible to know what God is up to. But the way we know God is by what happens, by the things that are created. Jesus said many times that you look at the sky and you know that if the sky looks a certain way, you know how it's going to be the next morning. It's going to be good weather or bad weather. But yet you can't discern the sign of the times. Well, I think I think a lot more people should look at the sign of the times. Because right now, what we're about to go into is a very interesting switch from where we've been. The world is completely different to a lot of people. They don't understand how we got here, but I was kind of seeing the writing on the wall, and I was talking about it many years ago. And to see it happen this quickly is so strange to me. But when I saw that sign in 2017, and I use that as a sign, it's just collectively we looked up, we see it. Wow, that's strange. It hasn't happened before. And it kind of leads everybody to think, well, is Christ returning? So that's what everybody was talking about. But I saw something else because, the scriptures talk about a day when a lot of people kind of come to the knowledge of the truth and the stature of the perfect man. It's the day of revealing. It's a day where Christ comes again. And that word come in Greek doesn't mean to come like from one place to another. It means to be revealed, to be manifested. So about a month or two ago, I start thinking about that date again. And I just kind of, I just out of the blue, just kind of looked it up. And what I found was strange. I said, oh my goodness, it's the equinox. And I thought, that's strange. That's kind of an interesting thing. And then I looked a little bit further. I said, I bet you there's something. I go, if it's the equinox, and I know how things work, people are into all that spooky stuff, right? I bet you there's some big thing going on in the world taking place on the equinox. So I just type in the UN, this, that, and the other thing, and I find out, oh my goodness, they have this huge climate. They're all getting together for this huge climate action to bring to pass the Paris Agreement, to put it into, full swing. And as I start talking about this, more and more pieces of this puzzle start to kind of pop up. There are all these weird coincidences. Now, I've been talking about, the prodigal coming home, kind of those people that have given up on faith and are just kind of just lost into this world because things are going to get a little harder, right? I was hoping that maybe the lights would go on. People would start to ask for more. On my channel, I kind of have this one thing that I say. I don't really try to tell anybody what to believe, but I do try to encourage and inspire people to ask for the truth no matter what the cost. To kind of just alone with themselves, just to do it, to reach out and say, hey, if you're there, if there's anything there, I want to know, because that would be the most important thing, because we're all physically, temporarily dying in this little meat suit that we have, but who we are within the meat suit is much greater. And the scriptures say that Christ is our life. So why is that not in the world? Why don't we see more love? And why don't we see more compassion? And why does it seem like everybody hates everybody, and that every time that you turn on YouTube, it's like you're worried something bad's going to happen? Because the world's a fallen world, right? And there's been a flood of lies that has basically polluted the world, and we've all become corrupted because we believe them. We believe the lies, so much so that people that are married won't speak to each other because they believe different. One's a CNN follower, another's a Fox follower. You know, they don't agree because they've been told to debate, and they've been told to hate each other. So September 23rd, 2017, I saw it as like an opportunity. I'm like, that's it. It's going to be the beginning of something big. You know, the lights are going to go on. People are going to start to wake up. And then as the days progressed, I was like, okay, so where's this day coming? Where's this day coming? Then along the way, we start hearing about all of these major events, you know, like the Notre Dame Cathedral. Sorry, I'm bringing that up on the show. I feel bad. I got to realize this isn't my show. I got to speak smart. Right?
So that thing. You know what? I don't even care, Jacob. It's a rare occurrence to have you on. Just please spread your message. That's all I care about.
We had so much strange and peculiar and what some people would call prophetic things happening in the world, spiritually speaking, that you have to take note. And so as I was watching this, I kept hearing about more and more discoveries. Just recently this week, they discovered Edom, which is a biblical kingdom. It traces the lineage of Esau from the Bible. They're these two twins. They were in the womb together. It's kind of a picture of the carnal man and Christ, the Christ within, the carnal man and the spiritual man doing battle, the two men at war. And the scripture says that two nations are at war in your womb. One will serve the other. So you have these two factions in the world. You have the ignorant carnal man, and then you have the spiritual man in this battle. It's just strange to continue to hear these biblical stories being revealed as, oh, this is the news. Like a week before that, the road to Emmaus, the great story where the disciples had given up. They were, they believed in the words of Jesus, but he was crucified, and it's going into the third day. And where's the promise, right? We've all said our prayers. We've taken our vitamins. We've helped the neighbors. Where's the promise? Why am I still having a hard time? Everybody wants to know. So they're headed towards this place called Emmaus in Scripture, which literally means the place where the laborers go to sleep, go take a nap. They've given up. They don't want to work the fields anymore. They've given up. And on that road, Christ appears. They don't recognize him at first until they eat. That's very symbolic and spiritual. So I start to say, wow, I go, look at this, Emmaus. Now we know it's true. And then right after that, wow, Edom. Now we know that kingdom's, and it's just very strange. So you see all of these things, and they start to add up, and then you find this date, this September 23rd day, 2019, which to me was just so profound because of what happened just 2 years earlier, because of the 7 years in between the eclipses that make an X over the United States, and the fact that, I think it's time. I think it's time for some kind of a big change. And I don't know if you've noticed, but in the news, the big news is everybody's coming together as one now. There's a big push in religion. The Pope is calling together all these leaders, and they're trying to make a kind of a united faith. And the UN is holding on September 23rd this climate meeting. And along the way, we've heard of this young girl named Greta Thunberg, who is from, I think she's from Sweden or Switzerland, or I'm not sure which one it is. Maybe Dex can look it up. Greta is.
We can have him do that as well, and I can pull it up. But I have to communicate it to him. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, her name is Greta Thunberg, and right now she's making her rounds. I think she's from Sweden, but maybe Switzerland. I'm not sure. But she's like the face of the movement, and it's all about the children and how the children are going to lead us. And And so you have Greta going around saying the house is on fire. We need to do something now. We need to act. We need to act. And what was strange was, and this just hit me today, was I had been talking about the Pope, and I had been talking about how he's bringing everybody together. And I've been talking about the UN. And I've been talking about everything that has to do with this, this date, where everything's kind of coinciding. And I realized, the Pope is behind almost all of this. And September 25th, 2017, like right after that big sign in the heavens, as they say, he was there for the first time speaking with the UN. And he wrote this, it's kind of like an encyclopedia. It's kind of like a way forward, if you will. It's a blueprint of how we're going to be. I think it's called Laudato Si. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I was blown away to find out that I'm like, okay, here's this guy. He's the Pope, right? The head of is probably the most powerful person in the world. One of them at least. Spiritually speaking, you could say probably the most. And he's going around. He just, I'm going to speak at the UN. I'm going to talk to celebrities. And he's connected to all these little dots. Like I shared a picture of the Pope and Greta, where she's holding this sign about, let's protest together. We're going to. And the bottom, it has the reference to his book. Celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio met with the Pope to receive the book, this leather-bound book. This thing, which translates, I found out tonight. I looked it up. I'm like, what does it mean, right? Because of course he's a man of God, so it has to do something with God. But it's more about worshiping, I think, from the title, the self, the carnal man, us. It's not praise to God, it's praise to you. I just think that that's just so bizarre. And he's taking a cue from Hillary Clinton in one of his last speeches. He quoted that African proverb about how it takes a village to raise a child. And you see all these connections, and you see how, how corrupt it all is. We know what's going on with the Vatican and the church. We know what's going on with the other group of individuals and, the islands, and we know all of this stuff that's coming out, the movements. There's a lot of corruption that's being revealed. And so somewhere along the line, I started to think, well, wow, maybe there is something really beautiful happening. Maybe there is hope. Maybe, the floods are going to kind of come to an end, and they're going to kind of, we're going to find a place where we can, stand tall and finally live our lives and not be scared all the time, And so when I looked up September 23rd, the Elul 23rd is in September in the Hebrew, you can say the Jewish calendar. This month is a time to get your house in order. And I think it was September 11th, they had Rosh Hashanah this year. And what's really strange about all of this is that I have these connections to, do you know what a shofar is, Adam? You know what that is?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. A shofar is it's a big ram's horn, and they blow it like a trumpet, okay? And it's kind of a big thing. So what they would do is when the king was going to return, they'd blow it. And so there are passages in Scripture, especially in the book of Joel, blow ye the trumpet, sound the alarm, let the inhabitants of the holy mountain understand, that the day is here, a day of darkness and gloominess and everything else. But there's going to be this group of individuals that are going to rise up in the United States and in other countries around the world. And these group of individuals are going to kind of bring in a new era. And there's a number that's attached to this called 144,000. And this has kind of been something that I've just been fascinated with for just many, many years. Because I see it as a symbolic number. I think it would be cool if it was a literal number. I'd hope it'd be a lot more than that, since we have something like 7 billion people on the planet. But it really doesn't take much. It really just takes, certain individuals placed in certain places to see great, great change. So while I think that's happening, I see this other thing happening in the world, where I see the world leaders kind of getting together, and I see them trying to kind of clamp down. Now they're screaming to the top of their lungs about how now we need to do something, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to put something through. We don't know what it is, but the way they're talking, it's kind of spooky because it's kind of like no longer are we going to give people the opportunity to just decide. We can't decide anymore. It has to be decided for us because the planet is going to, like Greta says, it's going to blow up, right? So the house is on fire, she says. I want you to panic. That's great. Terrible.
Do you think that possibly these attacks specifically on the oil fields and the fact that they're telling us that to change climate, to change the world, that we have to essentially get rid of, fossil fuels and all this? Do you think that this is all connected? Do you think we're at the precipice of something, ginormous, just absolutely
ginormous? Yes, ginormous. I felt like we were at the precipice of it for the last couple of years. I mean, for the last couple of years, especially. Yeah, I mean, once I saw that map of the U.S. and I saw the X over, and I mean, look, forget about all this. Like,
can we pull that map up? By the way, can I pull that map up to reference for everybody?
X marks the spot, pretty much. Yeah, it's interesting, and it's 7 years now. A 7-year period is kind of important because there were these 7 years of plenty. And then you have these 7 years of like famine. What's interesting about this is in the Old Testament, the Jacob from the Old Testament, he endured both the plenty and the lack. So I find it interesting. Here I am too, and we're going into quite a bit of lack with all the things that have happened to the crops, to the animals, to. I mean, and what you say about the oil field is just, I mean, I think that's a revolutionary idea. Well, not a lot of people are connecting that this is more about climate change and fossil fuels. I mean, I think that's really smart on your part. And I think that it is connected. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, look at it. We're trying to, at the same time, they are saying, you've got one side of the world saying in 12 years we have to change the world or otherwise we will go extinct. That's how extreme they are saying. And then at the same time, you've got all of these attacks on oil refineries, and they're all coming out of nowhere. I mean, there's something way bigger behind this. And I guess it's our job to kind of communicate this. I know you have a lot of connections as well. You were in you were in television, you were in you basically dealt with celebrities for a while there, and you knew all the great religious folks. So I know that you are on point with a lot of these prophecies. And I think the first one that I really kind of just said, oh my gosh, is your video on the red heifer. There was so many other ones that I've watched over the 2 years I've watched you, 2.5, 3 years maybe now, that is just like, it's really freaky when you see all the signs lining up. You see, I am not an expert on it. So if I say this is this and that's what it means, I would look dumb. But when you put together all the signs you have placed out, even an atheist would go, that is freaky. I mean, they would say that is scary. I mean, that would put the fear of God into them. I mean, there's really so many things lining up right now, not only politically, but in religion, that it's to the point where even regular people are saying we are close to something, the precipice of the change of the earth. So, but keep going. I'm enthralled.
Well, you remember just a couple of years ago that the tunnel that opened up. I don't know if you remember that crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my, the Gothard Tunnel, and of course CERN, and it's all of this stuff. You can't not look at this and say there are two forces at work here in the earth. And but the good news is that the elder is going to serve the younger, meaning that I think. See, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I spend a lot of time, praying about stuff and thinking about it, and then I ask for confirmation of it, and then when I see, there's a passage that says in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses a word is established, or when you see one thing after another thing after another thing start to line up. Like when I saw September 23rd, 2019, that it was the equinox. When I saw that the UN was getting together to, put this Paris Accord into action, full action. When I saw that Greta Thunberg, which, by the way, her name, when it translates, I mean, you can't even make this up. It's just strange. Her name, Greta, means pearl, and Thunberg means gate. And it's like you got the pearly gates there. You got Trump. I mean, by the way, I've been in this guy's presence twice. He was very good friends with Vince McMahon. I was the head writer for WWE. And the time that I saw Trump, this is a true story. You want to talk about weird? There was a wrestler named Gangrel. We were at Madison Square Garden, and I was standing right outside of the ring just looking. And Trump was in the first row with his, I think it was before they got married, right before he got married. And Gangrel used to take this fake blood and he'd drink it and then he'd spit it into the audience. And he spit it all over them. And I thought, oh my God, somebody's getting fired. But now looking back, it's almost very strange how like God's kind of placed me in all these strange places. Like I'm a kid who, my mother was 18. I never met my father, grew up in the projects, had a tough life. How did I end up becoming, the head writer for WWE? How did I end up becoming the head writer and producer for like the fastest growing, like the biggest Christian network in the world? And meet all these religious leaders. And how now, based on a couple of weird things that happened, my channel went viral. I've been on YouTube since 2008. It went viral because I had all of these things that wouldn't leave me alone. And I said, I'm not going to talk about it. It's crazy. When I told people back in 2014 that in a couple of years, the world was going to look totally different. And then when I said like September, 2015, something, I said, you're not even going to recognize the world. I lost a lot of friends. I used to have speaking engagements and they were canceled abruptly. Everybody was distancing themselves. So then when I thought I had to talk about this other thing, I was like, no way. But I had enough things happen and then I do it. And then the video goes viral and now here I am. So it's like at some point you have to step out in faith and believe that maybe there is something more at work here. You can't look at all these things put together and not see some kind of great plan. So what's going to happen is, and see, this is the thing is President Donald Trump, they think that this guy is, many rabbis over there probably think he's the Mashiach. He's the Messiah. Now the Jews have a different idea of what the Messiah is. And so do those who are in Islam, so do Muslims. They all have a different idea of how the Messiah comes. And the Jewish faith believes that the Mashiach comes as a very strong ruler. Other people believe that he's very much like Nebuchadnezzar, or they minted him, the Sanhedrin literally minted him on a coin, calling him, comparing him to Cyrus, King Cyrus, because he did move. I mean, you say what you want about Donald Trump. I said this, I believe I said this in my broadcast. But there's a lot of things that have gone down in the government that are very peculiar, and his presidency, he has gotten more done. I mean, he got North Korea, South Korea to start talking. Now, I'm not saying Trump's the man. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not for, I'm not against. I'm like for the kingdom of God, It's like you render unto Caesar what you want. I'm just going to continue. But this guy has done a lot. I mean, he's done a lot. And it's strange how quickly there's no more press correspondence dinners, right? Obama made a joke about that back in the day. When he said, the fall of the republics never looked better. Remember that great line? And then he says, say what you want about Donald Trump, but all kidding aside, he's going to bring a lot of change to the White House. And then he showed a picture of, the White House with like the Trump logo and everything else. And so you can't tell me that this isn't, just something else going on. And he also said this will be most likely the last press correspondence dinner. And it was. There's no more press briefings. We're living in a different country. We're living in a different world.
Now,
and right now,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. There's a couple things I want to ask you about, kind of speaking of the last of this and the last of that. I almost think that the U.S. government believes, or they know something about kind of how much time we have left, and that's why some of the things have taken priorities over the other things. Do you know what I mean?
Possibility. Yeah, it is a possibility.
And now they're saying that, you've got Donald saying that the moon, he just said a quote that he goes, oh, my guys told me that, why are we going to the moon? We've already gone to the moon, because the moon is a launch pad to go to Mars. I mean, he just said that out and about, and it almost sounded like he just found out that there was something there. As far as with all of the things going on, that I think that was just today. It could have been yesterday. But on top of that, you have all of these other things lining up all at once. Do you believe that we would also, on top of all these other things that are happening right now, do you think that we are about to go to conflict with other countries?
See, there was a time when I would have said yes. I mean, how could you not? I mean, you look at the news right now, and you can't look at this and say, like if there's some people that just aren't on board, you're going to have to get them on board, right? So, I mean, you think on one hand, yes. On the other hand, it's almost like you need some kind of, what show's coming back on HBO is the Watchmen. They have this new series coming out, The Watchmen. I don't know if you know about the graphic novel. It was a really good movie. But the series is coming on HBO called Watchmen. And I think about there's a scene in Watchmen where we find out that, the bad guy was really just trying to connect with a common enemy. And it was, you almost feel like they're trying to unite the world against something, and I'd hate to think that it's, God, I don't think it's God. But I think that there may be other things that we're not talking about. I mean, I'm very fascinated with what's going on with the planets, and obviously, Planet X, Nibiru, Nibiru. I mean, this is a big thing for me as well. I don't talk about it as much, but it's something that I think has something to do with all this in a roundabout way. And I think that this is the reason why we've had so many, it's like a rush to get to space. It's a rush to how we're going to blow up asteroids. It's a rush. I've been talking about this for a long time, and maybe something's coming. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I know that I'm going to be okay regardless, because my treasure's not here, and also the scriptures are pretty clear about this. I mean, when the flood came, Noah built an ark and he went into it. And so that's what I've been trying to do in my heart. And, and I also do, I do a little prepping on the side too. Why not? Can't be foolish. But I think that, you almost feel like there has to be some kind of a world event that then gets everybody to come together. So then and I think that they're already doing it though, Adam. I think that this climate change thing is the thing. And that's why, when I heard about Dorian, I was so, I did something really weird with that. It's like I was literally praying. I don't, because could you imagine if it did decimate? I mean, look what it did to the Bahamas. Could you imagine it could have been so much worse. And it was like nonstop fear. I mean, and you see what happened to Puerto Rico, and you have all these major storms, these 1,000-year storms, and I'm tired of hearing about it. So, in my business, I was like, all right, Lord, it's like enough of these storms, enough of this. But you almost feel like it's all happening to get everybody on this one page that I think is going to be signed. It probably already is signed, but I mean, really going to take effect on this day. On this day, the same day that's the equinox, the same day that, by the way, I said on my show, it sounds silly, but A Prodigal Son is going to be on Fox. It premieres, and it's about the world's most famous serial killer and his son. It's called Prodigal Son. I just find it strange because I'm talking about the prodigals returning, and then here it is. you know. So what do I don't know what any of it really means in the natural sense. Like, I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
One more question is, you have covered this as well, and I've loved watching your videos, kind of covering the asteroid things that are happening. I don't know how much of me you have watched, but I have talked about how it kind of looks like they are preparing to try to possibly veer something off from hitting us, like they know something we don't. By the way, you probably didn't see last night's show. Somebody called that lived by Sunspot Observatory, and he was talking. He's a local that lived in that little area, and that it's a very small area
shut down,
that they evacuated for 2 weeks. Yeah. And they said it was a pedo-related thing, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't spend that much time at Epstein's. They didn't spend 2 weeks at Epstein's. Why would they spend that much time at an observatory? Why did the supposed other observatories go out? And then again, they say, oh no, if there's something coming, we'll see it. When we have covered that they just had one go by that would be, big enough to destroy London, and they didn't see it until 24 hours before. Last year it hit Jamaica. We had one hit Jamaica, and they didn't know until 3 hours before. And they said it wouldn't hit, and it did. So now they have Hammer. They have all of these different missions. Russia, China, all these countries are doing it.
Yep.
So I have to say, like, you've been spot on before talking about that. People go, well, what is it? Is it going to be a pandemic? I mean, do you think we're crazy for talking about all these things? It's like kind of which one happens first, or do they all happen at the same time? It's crazy.
Well, you know what's interesting to me is that Nibiru wasn't a. If anybody doesn't know what that is, I hate to try to even explain it, but they said that there's this planet that comes around, and it's in this very oblong orbit. And I just did a video just a little, I don't know, was it a week or two ago, about the same thing again. Now, I've been talking about this for years, and I had said back in the day when it didn't exist, I said in a couple of years they're going to release it little by little, and they're going to admit that it's out there, and then they're going to drip the information so you get used to it. But it was just so bizarre. I'm doing these videos. I did my one video that went viral. At that time it was a hoax. But it wasn't much longer before all of a sudden you hear about the guys from Caltech, and they're like, hey, it's out there. We know it's out there. But forget about that. We just had our second interstellar visitor. Our second. The first one, Oumuamua, by the way, lion means they originally said that it was the messenger from afar arriving first, which I thought was so ominous. So that means there are going to be more. But now they translate it as like a scout ahead of a warring party.
No. Are you talking about Oumuamua? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Oumuamua, yeah.
And now there's a second interstellar visitor. And and by the way, I showed the other night if you show the path of the first one and it speeds up and nobody can explain it, that thing came right by Earth. It was like almost like it just purposely went right next to Earth, almost like it just says, hey, we see you, then leaves, and now we have a second interstellar visitor. If it's true, everybody is so confused in this niche because we're all thinking, no, they're telling us that because it's a distraction. They're telling us this. What if, though, what if, that there are everything and anything. What if something is coming in from another planet? It's mind-boggling to think about.
Well, it is that's actually what got my channel going, man. It was like, that was the subject I didn't want to talk about. I wasn't into aliens. I didn't believe it. Not that I didn't believe it. I just didn't care about it. I didn't, focus on it. And there was just so much that was coming at me that I finally had to look into it. And then I had a terrible nightmare. And it was such, I don't even like talking about it. It was one of those nightmares where in the dream I was asking God for forgiveness. and I was trying to upload a video. Stuff was going down, and I was like, I didn't think it was real. I'm so sorry. I'll do the video now. It was a weird. I was on a vacation in Florida, and I woke up and I decided, that's it. I'm gonna do this video now. And forget about that. One of my readers from many years ago is an author, a sci-fi author. His name's Bob Selesky, and he has a book called Aphelon, and he put me in as the lead character in the novel. And he says, hey, I want to use some of your poetry. I want to kind of take the things, because I've been doing YouTube for a long time. I wasn't reaching as many people. I just knew I knew to put it out there. I knew that one day it would make sense. And so he put a lot of the things that I had said in his book. And as I was in my mind wrestling with the idea, am I going to go online and now talk to people about, and at the time I had 540 subscribers. So it was like, I was worried about, losing YouTube subscribers. I was worried about the website and my knowledge and credibility and, stuff like that.
I'm sorry. You're cutting. There's some digital distortion happening. It's probably.
No, I'm sorry.
No. It's fine. It's just it does happen, and I will say this. Most likely, it's because of some of the keywords. I've had it happen 99% of the time. That's why it sucks. In fact, I get a lot of crap for filtering what I say. But again, when you talk about these kind of things, we have
right.
Do you realize that people said slow down the chat? I was going to say there's not really much we can do. There's 4,000 people here. It's been going up ever since. So when there's 4,000 people, you better bet out of the entire YouTube in this niche, there's some people watching up there. So, no, I think you're spot on, Jacob. I think there's so much here. I mean, there are so many. Well, I mean,
you look at the magnetic field, wacky, animal die-offs, wacky. Like, there's just so much strangeness. Climate change is happening on other planets. So things would if something comes in, if you know anything about Einstein and we'll say general relativity, right? When big massive objects come into say closer to a sun, what happens is it kind of warps things and it wobbles things. And you can just type in the word wobble and Earth or universe, and you'll see, that they've said that something is causing this. We've calculated. You tell me how weird this is. We have a picture of a black hole. All of a sudden, it's all of this stuff is so incredibly significant to me. The bottomless pit finally opened up to us. Like, we know there's a black hole now, and it only happened. We only got a picture. What was it? A couple of months after we finally, calculated gravitational waves. What a gravitational wave is when something massive kind of warps space-time. It creates a little ripple, and they have these little sensors that pick it up. So, Einstein thought, black holes may be real, and theorized it, and it made sense mathematically, but they never had any proof. But now we have a picture. It's like, okay, that makes sense to me. And I think it's fascinating. I really do, because I think that we're headed into a very interesting time. I just want people to just have faith in more, because if things do go a little bonkers, a little batty, you get a little more asteroids coming, a little more boom, boom, booms into the earth, it's going to get people scared. If you lose power, think about that. I went through Hurricane Sandy, how we went, a couple of weeks without power, how hard just that is. But if you have faith in more, and if God is real, which I know God is, it's going to work out for you. It's going to work out.
Now, as far as some of the other things going on here, you mentioned a lot of different things there, and I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on some of the things. By the way, chat. I've seen this at least 3 times now. Somebody wants to hear your theory on Cascadia. Do you think that that's something that's going to happen soon?
Yeah. Once again, these are topics that are.
Is there anything biblical about it though? And then my other question is, so to somebody who just walked in the chat, what do you think is going to happen on September 23rd in 2 days? And is it going to be September 23rd in 2 years, in 13 years? What do you keep seeing about this date?
No.
It's like,
it's just, if you look at what's going down is that this is right now, this climate thing is a big deal. The Pope has been going around with his book, praise be to you. And everybody's on board. World leaders are getting together. Religious leaders are getting together. And it's taking place on that day. So I think that, like you said, I believe that they know that there's something coming. And I think they're doing everything they can to clamp down. And, there's a reason why there's how many cameras, all over the place. It's going to get more and more claustrophobic, and it has to. It's just a form of control. I mean, what's happening in China is going to happen here. This social credit system is already a thing. But all of that's going to matter not if something big kind of disrupts the whole game they're playing. I don't know if there's going to be war, Adam. I would think that you would first hear about like peace. You'd hear about like, oh, peace is going to be brokered. Peace, like that would be what I'd be worried about hearing. Isn't that weird? It's
no, I agree with you there.
It's a false sense of security. And see, a lot of these people, they really believe in this stuff and they want to literally make it happen. I'm sure everybody that watches your channel and knows your channel understands symbolism, understands symbols, the whole, the all-seeing eye thing, and the logos, and how we are in what's called a beast system, right? It's like prison planet, as they say. We're in the abode of the dead. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, because we are in the shadow of death, I fear no evil, because God is with me. His rod and his staff comfort me. You get what I'm saying? It's like I'm here with you. We're all in this together, and the light has to break free. And what I find interesting is when I was looking up that September 23rd date, and you see all the stuff that's going on in the world, and you understand that everybody's trying to orchestrate something. I also see that in history, I showed this on my in my live stream. In history, they referenced Noah's flood. And what's weird about that is right now there's terrible flooding going on in Texas. I think it's the Melda, which means like a universal battle, which is interesting because once again, spiritually, everything's playing out. So these people, they think that Trump is this great leader. Either that or Jared Kushner. I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu slept in Jared Kushner's childhood bed. I don't know if you know that Jared Kushner is an Orthodox Jew, and so is Ivanka, and they're very devout, and this is a big thing. I mean, they already the altar. They want to build this third temple in Israel, and what's interesting is as all this is happening, you have like kind of an uproar in Israel, where they don't really know who's even going to be in charge now, because the revote, and they don't even know who's. Like right now, you have Gantz, and you have Netanyahu, and the two of them. It seems like there's a division there, and it's interesting to see where this is all going to play out. But how does Jared Kushner get to broker the peace deal? How does this guy? His father was a criminal who went to jail, by the way. All these people, they're all connected, and yet he's handed the peace deal. He bought 666, the building 666 in New York, and then he rented it out to the Chinese, And this guy's, I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going down with these people. And so they're trying to bring it to pass. Because here's the thing, like if you believe that stuff, which they do, you know, the very orthodox rabbis who are kind of in charge over there, they want to bring it to pass. They want to force the hand because according to the Jewish belief, there's a couple of ways that the Messiah comes. You can do the right thing and, you know, be good and be kind, serve God, and he'll come a good, or he comes like a scorpion, and which you know, stings you. You don't understand it. Kind of like it's so. In other words, it's either you get your act together and the Messiah comes, or the Messiah is gonna come a different way. It's gonna come a different way, and it feels to me like they're trying to force this hand, and hence when I saw it was on the equinox, I thought, wow, look at this, a time when there's equal day, equal night, you know, and we're heading into what's called the fall, and all of these things are kind of lining up. I mean, all of the blood moons and the symbolic numbers with Trump, and you know, he was born on a blood moon, and how many, the 70th anniversary of Israel, and you know, all of these things, they bode very, very well prophetically to something major is going to happen. And I don't know what that is, man. I mean, it could be anything, you know, and that's the thing, is like, oh, great. Well, what good are you? Well, I'll tell you what good am I, is that I know for a fact I've been through enough in my life and I've seen enough to know that there is more. And so the good am I is that, you know, is it going to be an alien invasion? You know, is it going to be just tons of asteroids? Is it going to be, is it going to be Yellowstone? Is it going to be CERN? Is it going to be this? I mean, we have so much to worry about, and yet nobody's worrying really about the bigger picture, which is you're going to die anyway, physically, right? And you don't know when that hour comes. You don't know when the day is coming. But here we have these reminders, these points in time that are saying, hey, pay attention, you know? Pay attention. And so in history, when they brought up Noah's flood, I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. Because they brought up the part where the dove brought the olive branch back, which is, and of course, the olive branch is in the news right now, too, where if you just do like a search in the last week, you see Pence is handing out an olive branch, Trump is handing out an olive branch, China's handing out an olive branch. And I say, wow, this is real. This bodes very well, because that means that, you know, the flood is starting to subside in the land. And the flood that I'm talking about, this flood that's poured out from the dragon's mouth in the book of Revelation, the dragon only speaks lies. So if a flood comes out of a liar's mouth, it's a lie. It's fake news. We're told not to believe anything. How many people, Adam, do you know that you can really, really, really trust? That you know that they're being legit with you and honest with you? How many people have broke your heart because you thought you could trust them, but they were liars? How many times have we caught ourselves lying to somebody and not even understanding why we're lying for no reason? You know, whether it was to feel better about ourselves or to make ourselves look better or whatever. We do these things because we've been conditioned and brainwashed to be lost, to be slaves to this beast system. And that day is coming to an end. That day is coming to an end. I think that the chains are going to be released from us. I think that we're going to be set free. And at the exact same time, I think this system is going to come a crumbling. I think that there's going to be a big blow that's going to be dealt to all of this. And they may start making things sound like, yeah, we got to do this, we got to do that, we better do it now.
So essentially, just to kind of grasp this too, is no matter what, you know, people call it fear porn to talk about some of the things that we talk about here. But when you really think about it, no matter what it is, no matter how, like you said, we are all going to die at some point. It's bigger than that. And not everybody in here is going to be a Christian or this or that. As far as what we've been talking about is all the biblical signs that this is, I mean, truly, there are so many. It's unavoidable, even for somebody who is literally against every religion out there. I mean, there in almost every book there are signs that are happening.
Yeah, everything's
but basically we have to be right with ourselves. I mean,
right.
Period. you shouldn't be afraid of it either way. We're all going to die at some point.
I try to tell people that there's not much you can prove, right? You can literally prove that you exist, but you can only prove that to yourself because you know you exist. I think, therefore I am. Now, this is something that we all share in common. Like, we all are, this is going to sound really egotistical, but it's not egotistical. It's actually the truth because we share this experience. We are the beginning. We are the absolute center of our life. We are the beginning and the end of our experience in this world. We all exist. And existence doesn't just go away. Energy, first law of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Energy just is, right? So we just are. We all have this similar experience, but we're having this temporal experience where we all believe a certain thing. Like, we've collectively agreed to this, nonsense way of thinking. Dog eat dog world, It's very, very sad. And I think that that's what's coming to an end. And I think that to get people to wake up from a bad dream, the bad dream has to get a lot worse. If people aren't going to wake up now.
Okay, but see, one thing that bothers me is I think people are afraid of saying that it's end times because they don't want to be put in a box of that crazy guy in the corner holding the cardboard sign. At the same time, one of my main concerns is getting people prepared so they can survive, kind of the things that happened before then, the Cascadia subduction zones, the New Madrid, the Yellowstone, the asteroids,
right.
All these things that obviously the government is extremely concerned about. They are drilling every single day. They are secretly basically telling the government employees, you need to be ready at any moment. You need to have 4 calculated routes to work because when this goes down, a lot of people are going to die. I mean, we know these things are going to happen. Why? These are the things I try to stress about. But at the same time, I think a lot of people, including probably myself and you, we're afraid to say, hey, the world's going to end soon because one, trolls are going to come at us and say, you're just doing it for this, you're doing it for that. But what if you truly do believe we are getting close to kind of a biblical end of earth? And then you say biblical end of earth, and then the atheists say, oh, he's just some Bible thumper or this and that.
Okay, so let me
look at it. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me help you with this because the end of the world is not what the scriptures are about. I know that a lot of people make it that way because when you're scared, it's easy to get people to do what you want them to do. Right? That's why they created indulgences. Our Pope, who doesn't even know much about God and how he uses temptation to lead Christ to the wilderness, but he says God won't lead anyone to temptation. He changed the Lord's Prayer. This guy, he writes this book, and everybody's on board. He's gonna set the pace, and he doesn't even mention the Spirit of God. It's so strange, but it isn't when you look at the church and what they've done to children, and because that's spiritually significant. So that's fear. Fear gets you scared. And when you're scared, you go into fight or flight. You can't think straight because you got so much stuff to worry about. You can't focus on what's really important. I'm right now, I have a beautiful wife. I have beautiful children. I have a job that I've been blessed with. And I have a YouTube channel that I've been blessed with. I have all these things that can bring me a lot of joy, but they can also bring me a lot of pain and a lot of fear. It depends on what mode of thinking that I'm in. And this world is designed to keep you in your baser thought process, which is called the brainstem, which is called the reptilian brains, literally the snake that hangs from the tree of your nervous system. It's the brainstem. It's your lowest form of thinking. And the trick is to get out of that, right? So when you have these stories in scripture about the world coming to an end, it's the world system. The scriptures actually say that the world's going to continue on, but the world system, because it is a world without end, but the world system is what's going bye-bye. The way things are. when things are corrupt, it only lasts for a certain period of time, and there's a reason for it, and we learn for it. The scriptures talk very clearly about how God had hardened Pharaoh's heart so that Israel would wander. I mean, it sounds terrible that, they would end up slaves, and because they gave up. So what he did, we're going to bring in a foreign ruler, and we're going to make you a bunch of slaves, and then you're going to cry for freedom. Then we're going to make you wander around the wilderness for 40 years. And only a couple entered the promised land. The promised land's right here and right now. It's not like see, this is what religion does, is it puts it out into the future. The end of the world is coming. The end of the world is now for those who want it to end. If you don't want to be, you can be in the world, but not of it. And that's the point, is that you could be in this world and not of it. And if God be with you, who can be against you? That's why there was a time I was scared, Adam. I was scared to talk about a lot of stuff. I didn't want to, and then I realized, I realized that everything is going according to plan. And I saw my purpose in it all. And, it's going to get really bad, but not like, it's just go about your lives, because it's going to get better too.
Well, so people don't sit there.
There's that little olive branch.
I understand, but people don't get afraid of old age. How many people? I mean, they might be, be depressed about getting older. But if you think about it, people don't get, people aren't afraid of death by old age. They're afraid of dying, period. And I think that's a big deal of why we mentally have had kind of mental blocks against hearing kind of this kind of information. And we want to see it some other way. We don't want to see it pointing towards the end. We want to point it, we want to point it towards the positive. But on the other hand, we're all afraid of dying. That's our number one fear. There's not a single person that, at one point or another is not afraid. You might have accepted God. You might have acceped that you're ready to die right now.
Who wants to die?
Who wants to die? Yeah, and somebody can say it, but nobody wants to die right now. And if they do, that's suicide. Me. Exactly.
I don't want to die at all. Like I don't want to die at all. Like I love my life. I love my family. There was a time when I hated life. It's like I just want to see more and more people come to understand that there is more, and to seek more. And I got to tell you, I think what's coming, a lot more people are going to start to maybe say, okay, are you there? Maybe now it's time. Maybe now it's time I reach out to you. Better late than never, the scriptures say. And here's a good thing that a lot of pastors and priests don't point out, and rabbis as well, right? Is that God finishes his creation in victory. All of creation sings his praise. All. I mean, that's in scripture. There's no defeat. There comes a time when there's going to be hardship. There comes a time when there's going to be evil in the world. But it's all working. And you ever have a bad dream? And you wake up from that dream and you're like, phew. And it was a horrible dream. It was a nightmare. Maybe you're being tortured, right? Maybe you're you're doing a YouTube show and you're in the nude, right? And everybody, right? And your audio's off and you can't talk. It's like everybody has these terrible dreams. You wake up and you're like, wow, it was just a dream. But you ever stop to think about how you just existed in a reality that wasn't real, and you experienced fear and color and sound and taste, and in your dream when you were sleeping, you were you in another dimension, and then you wake up, and it could have been this I have bad dreams. I'm a dreamer. I dream a lot, and I wake up, and guess what? Now I look at the dream and I learn from it. I say, wow, this is interesting. And this is why you have so many therapists, and I don't like therapists, just so you know. Anybody therapists in the audience, I don't have a problem with you. I just have a problem with, I had a bad experience, very young. They just push the drugs on everybody. Here's this, here's this, here's this. Horrible stuff. I'm not a doctor, so don't take my advice. But
so Jacob, I wanted to kind of give you a chance. We've got about 4,100 people here. I was gonna try to say, you know, is there something that you wanted to say, kind of sum it up in the 2 minutes? Because I do still have to do the news and the regular call-in show, but man, we could honestly, I would love to have you on and just have a
oh wow, look at the time, dude. Look at the time. Wow. All
the
right.
only
Yeah,
reason I
geez,
say
I gotta
that
get
is
to bed.
the only reason I say that I think everybody,
bed.
we could sit here for 5 hours. But you know, as you probably know, Dex is actually on your time as well. I know you sleep at like 9. I feel bad for texting you at like 7.
This is a big night for me to stay up for you.
No, and I can't. I really appreciate it, Jacob. I would love to actually do. I think more and more people would like to see you come on and you know, I would like to do like a 2-hour special with you. I'm serious.
Oh, man.
I'm just thinking I would love for you to come back. I'm just thinking I am not gonna end up getting done with everything else for another 2.5 hours after
go
this.
Anyway, brother, I just looked at the time. I feel like I've been on with you for 10 minutes, and I'm looking at the time. I got to be up in like 5 hours.
Well, I want you to sum up kind of everything. I want you to just, because there's a lot of new people that weren't here in the very beginning, just sum up everything if you can in a few minutes here.
For the last couple of years, there have been what many people would consider spiritual, significant happenings all around the world, things that are just way too coincidental. World leaders have taken note of it. I mean, look, they're not building the third temple for nothing, right, in Israel. This is not, they didn't move to Jerusalem. You know, they didn't move the embassy to Jerusalem for no reason. All of this stuff is there, it's being orchestrated, and it's all coming to a head. And if there was anything that I could say to anybody, it is just take a minute, take a second to just understand that, you know, all of this stuff that you put your faith in an instant, it can go. In an instant. You know, there's just, when Jonah was sent over to Nineveh to warn them and to say, hey, look, you know what? Maybe it's time you get rid of your evil ways. Maybe it's time you just kind of get yourself right. You're compassionate, you're kind, you love. You don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal. You do the right thing. You take care of those who need. Before it's too late, you know? So that's been my beckoning call. Because, you know, just like Abraham, when they were going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, everybody keeps, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah, it's a big thing. Everybody keeps talking about Sodom and Gomorrah. But this is going to be it's going to rain fire, asteroids from the sky. Well, Abraham had this bargaining deal with God where he's like, well, look, if you could find 50 righteous people in Sodom, would you spare? Because, you know, and he's like, yeah, sure, I'll do 50. And then Abraham's like, probably aren't 50 people that are good. So how about like 20? Would you do it for 20? You know, and God's like, yeah, I'll do it for 20. I'll spare, you know, the world for 20. And he goes, what about 10? And then he kind of left it at that. And he just kind of gave up. Sodom and Gomorrah gets destroyed. But you almost think to yourself, I'm like, yeah, would you do it for me, Lord? Would you? I don't want to see the world blow up. You just had a beautiful baby. No, I don't want people scared. I don't want my children scared. But I do want to see a new day. And a new day is here. And it's a choice. That's it. You know, it's just simply, do you want to be better? You want to be better. And to be better, you got to love others. Jesus said this, and it was very, very easy. It's very, very easy, but no one does it. What you've done to other people, you've done to me. And why is that? Because we all share the same experience. We all share the same spirit of life that is in us. We're all conscious beings that come from something much greater, that we are an extension of. We're what you do to others, you do to me. You know, do unto others as you want done to yourself. Start treating other people the way you want to be treated. Start seeking a little more too. Love God first, they say. Love others. How do you love God? Start by loving others. You can't understand what tangibly God means, because that's basically what Jesus was trying to teach, especially when he was washing the disciples' feet. Thank you so much for having me on tonight, Adam. I appreciate it, man. You're a good dude.
No, it's an honor, Jacob. I watched you before my channel existed. I've loved your videos. Even my sister was just ecstatic the first time she found out that I was talking to you. She watches you almost every single video. So
man,
I would like to introduce you and have you talk to her at some point. She is incredible.
I love it.
She's a lot like me in a lot of ways. Jacob, you are absolutely a stunning speaker. Again, Jacob was one of the one of the head writers of one of the biggest Christian networks out there, one of the head writers of WWE. He did stuff with so many different high profile people. And
world leaders,
world leaders, religious leaders. He knows his stuff. So there's a reason why there was 4,000 people in here. When you are actually spitting truth, people just line up for it. And a lot of people do not know. I know because there's 376 million people here in the United States, and there are 8 billion people on Earth, or whatever it is at now, and he is only at 138,000. So I really inspire every single person here, 4,000 people, to just go over there to Jacob Israel and go subscribe. He is actually there was kind of an odd goal too. We want to get him to 144,000. I believe you had a month.
Yeah. By the way, that's another part of the debt. Actually, I didn't bring that up, but that's another thing. That comes to an end. I had said on the channel, I was like, I would love it. I would love to have 144,000, but it's like by the end of the summer. Well, guess what? The summer comes to an end on Monday. So.
Well, by the end of this replay, watch
task.
this.
It's a tough task for that to happen.
Hey. Let's see. But honestly, this is the most amazing thing you can do for somebody. He has talked about this goal for, I don't even know, 6 months, a year. If we can get 6,000 people to go over and make that goal happen, let's see, what can I do?
It'd be a cool story, man. It would be a cool story.
I think it would be the most amazing thing ever. I will
It would be like a miracle. Yeah.
If we can get him to 144,000 by Monday, I will do a super surprise giveaway. How about that? And I'll have to figure it out. I think it will be the coolest thing ever. No, Monday we'll do an update and see where you are, Jacob. And I think the Lord is behind it, and I think that you will get there. And honestly, yeah, the equinox Monday is the last day of it. So let's try to get Jacob there. So Jacob, it was so amazing having you. It is an honor to have you on the channel. I know the people you have talked to. I know the people you were connected to, and the amazing people that you have surrounded yourself with. He's one of the most positive people on YouTube. I was in his live chat earlier, and I've been there a lot, and I was like sitting there, and I'm like, he doesn't even have mods. He doesn't need them because he doesn't have, he is one of just the most likable people out there. Even the most hate-filled people, they just don't go over to him. He's like rubber, they just bounce right off of him. So go check him out. He is always so positive. Honestly, somebody who I have watched for a long time, and if I'm depressed, I watch his channel. So Jacob, it's amazing to have you. Thank you so much. I hope that
thank you.
I hope that our world turns around.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to. And I have faith. And with faith, anything is possible, and everything is possible. So there's that. Thank you so much, brother. I love you so much, man. I'm gonna have to give you a big hug when I meet you. I'll talk to you soon. Okay?
I'll be in New York.
Thank you,
soon.
Everybody.
Let's do it. Have a good night.
Oh yeah. Well, you got a place to stay here.
I already know.
Let me know.
I already know. You got a mother-in-law for me. All right. You have a good night.
Love
Be safe.
You, man.
God
Bye-bye.
bless you. I love you. Bye. If you guys want to support us and protect yourself against an EMP, I really honestly think that everyone needs to have this in their home. They need to protect themselves against a future EMP or a coronal mass ejection. This protects against both. Right now, they are doing $100 off on the home model. So if you are in a house or even an apartment, you can actually get $100 off. It's the biggest discount they've done on the home model. All you have to do is go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. And again, they are doing all sorts of cool stuff for the fam. You can get one for your ham radio operator, your solar. You can get one for your generator. You can get one for your vehicle. and you get a better deal if you go through with the code. But either way, you need to go snatch one up. Install it in your house. It will protect you. This is the same system that they are using. They are helping the DoD and the Homeland Security actually harden our grid. These are the companies that they called when T-Man signed that bill. They've also teamed up with Klarna, so they have an option that requires no money up front and is interest-free and broken up into 4 payments. So basically, you have no excuse not to protect yourself against an EMP.
You want to know what's going on? What's really going on when it happens? Go to marfooglenews.com and get Marfoogle alerts along with a Discord invitation where you can find your local state group and get together with the Foogle Fam. You'll find fast friends where you'll share prep and intel, and there's even special groups for former and current military. But don't try and steal the valor of those who have really served. It won't go well for you. The Marfoogle Fam is waiting for you.